Does your child's brain and behavior sometimes just feel like it's going savage? Well, we're going to talk about today. I got notes. I got so much good stuff I want to walk you through today. I'm looking forward to diving deep in this because when the child's brain is going savage, what we look at as neurologically focused pediatric chiropractors is that we're trying to help understand and put it in a couple categories. So when we look at these kids that we call perfect storm, I mean, everything is kind of colliding. And if you come to our perfect storm behind the scenes of ADHD, ADD, or sensory issues, we walk through all the science of what's going on for these kiddos. But we put these kids that are in this category of perfect storm usually into groups. This helps us understand, and you already know some of this, but the first one is a raging bull kiddos. These are our impulsive, anxious, hyperactive kiddos, and they are running and gunning. They have trouble with calming down, have trouble with that regulation. They are just all over the place, okay? Our second category are those drunken bull, okay? When they get overwhelmed, they check out. Okay, and that's more on that ADD side, right? They're focused, they have trouble with concentration, memory, their emotional regulation challenges, and sometimes you don't know that until they're in that meltdown state, right? And there's that third camp where we have the combination where these kiddos are going back and forth. Well, what is this? So what's happening when their brain is going savage here? When they're in this state, this nervous system, as we like to explain, is subluxated, okay? There's stress stuck on. There is a part of their brain that is literally running out of control. So this leads to these challenges these kids are walking through, and we want to help them break through. And this usually shows up for these kiddos when they sit down to do homework, right? It's next to impossible. Or if they have to wear a certain type of clothing, or they have to do something they don't want to do. Why? Because doing homework or listening to mom or teacher, their brain is going savage. It's running crazy inside. Another term we use is noisy brain, all right? They're running all over the place. So as many parents, our goal is to help them be able to get to a place of concentration focus so they can learn, right? We want to help them fall asleep easier. We want to help their concentration. We want them to not be addicted to video games. I'm going to get to that whole idea of what's happening with the brain in video games here in a second. So one of the things I want to make sure I cover here is so many raging bull kiddos are extra hooked and attracted to video games because the challenge that's causing their ADHD, anxiety, and all those raging bull challenges is an overstressed, stuck on fight or flight nervous system. So that's the brain and the spinal cord. They control every aspect of how our body works. And if that is subluxated or stressed or stuck on, or in this, as I said, raging bull state or overstressed state, then they're constantly looking for and needing stimulation. So when our sympathetic nervous system is running the show, that's the gas pedal, that's the stress, that's the fight or flight system. When it's subluxated, there is no brake pedal, okay? That means there is no calm, there's no concentration, there's no emotional regulation, or all that is suppressed when we're stuck in that fight or flight state. So it's no wonder these kids are craving video games or shows because it's the only thing that's moving at the same pace as their brain. So how do we help this child get unstuck? Well, a child's nervous system is subluxated and stuck in that sympathetic mode is only going to be comfortable in sensory seeking, talking, touching, moving, grooving, and fidgeting activities. Why do you think we have fidget spinners now? Why do you think we have fidgets for these kids, right? Because they're constantly needing stuff. Now, I hate to say this, we're kind of feeding the dragon in many ways. We're just giving them more things to do that matches where their brain is at instead of really getting to that root cause. So these kids are comfortable there because their brain is used to doing so. So nerves that fire together, I know you hear this from me all the time, but nerves that fire together, wire together. So we're building patterns for them in this. Okay, gotcha, I know, I'll get off my soapbox. All right, but when they need to sit down and do homework, or when they need to get something done like clean their room, or they need to do something that they don't want to do, we usually have to go into these patterns of bribery or allowing them to get to play their video game if they get something done, right? So we're still feeding that dragon, so to speak. So the brain is wildly uncomfortable doing homework because it requires them to sit still and be quiet. It requires their brain to put everything in order, and most of these kiddos don't have a brake pedal. So if you remember riding your bike as a kid, and if your brakes ever went out while you're going downhill because you were going too fast, the only thing you're going to really be able to do to stop is to crash into stuff, right? And so that's what you're seeing with your kiddos. You're seeing them not able to get comfortable being quiet or calm. So they're constantly crashing into things. All right. So that's why concentration is hard. That's why emotional regulation is hard. All these things come out. It's because the brain is in a constantly stretched situation. I want to say it again. The brain is in a constantly stressed situation. Okay. That's what subluxation in the perfect storm, like we've been talking about, that raging bull, drunken bull, does. If this sounds like your kiddo and you struggle to fall asleep, or they can't concentrate, listen, or follow along, and they're just going all the time, too fast, too much, reach out to us. That's what we do. We want to help you walk through what that raging bull brain is doing. What is that drunken bull brain doing? Let's get them to a place where they are not in that stressed, stuck on state. Okay? Mom, Dad, if this is not your kid, you know someone who is. You know they're suffering in desperation. They're looking for a natural alternative to medication. They're looking for something they can do. They've been researching everything on vagus nerve, ADHD, ADD. They're looking for vagus stretches. They're trying to do everything they can. We specialize in helping families just like you walk through this. But remember, when that brain goes savage and it's going and running all the time, you need someone to help calm that down. And we want to work with you to give you those hope, help, and answers you're looking for. I'm Dr. Matt Davis, Reform Family Chiropractic, and we can't wait to take care of you.